Talk to me. How's everything been?
This is what's weird about it is you go from being not busy at all to extremely busy, like, wake up to sundown busy.
A little change of pace, and then come come September, October, you're like, okay, I'm ready for winter services.
Yeah, you're ready for it, and then you get sick of it. And then you're ready
Yeah.
for spring, and you're like, oh my gosh, I remember this is a lot of work.
Well, let's hop right in so we can capitalize these 45 minutes for you. Topic one is overview of Facebook and Google ads. So talk to me about the pros and cons of what you're currently doing, and then that'll help gear me and guide me to offer insight.
The cons are I'm not like a master of it yet. I don't fully understand it like I'd want to. I'm the type of person that wants to master things. I want to be really good at it.
Mhm.
Uh, I'm not the best at it yet. I'm working on it. And of course, it's going to take reps. But that's really my only con is just not fully understanding both of them. The pros is that I'm getting a lot of leads from both. So I'm just trying to see, like, is it effective? Because I look at my customer acquisition costs, and I remember when I looked over it with you for Facebook, it was like, I think it was 125 bucks. Customer acquisition costs. Is that okay to be spent? I know I'm supposed to look over the profit per customer, and I kind of roughly knew what that was. I think it was like 600, 500 or
Oh,
600 back whenever I looked at it.
so let's just say that 6.7. Let's round up to 7% for worst case. Let's say that
hmm
7% is your monthly attrition. So we take 1 divided by 0.07. That's 14.28 months that your customers stay with you on average. What was your annual revenue last year?
306,000.
And then how many reoccurring customers did you have at the end of last year?
210.
210. What was your net profit last year?
20%.
Your net profit per customer is $346. If you wanted to 5x your money, your max customer acquisition cost would be roughly $70 for customer acquisition cost. So
Gotcha.
if you
Yeah.
wanted to afford a $150 customer acquisition cost, you would effectively have to double the lifetime value of your customer. Way you could do that is upsells. Another way you could do that is play defense and drop your attrition down quite a bit.
Upsells has been a big thing. We didn't implement the upsell feature until October of last year as well. And right now it's crushing.
Yeah.
That will definitely help increase the value of each customer.
So if we reran that at 5%, that's 20 months value to the customer. Now your max customer acquisition cost could be 97 if you had a 5% monthly attrition. If you wanted to 5x your money. So you put $1 in, 5 comes back.
So the $120 I'm spending customer acquisition cost on Facebook is not worth it.
If you were spending 120 and if you had a 5% monthly attrition, you're getting a 4x return on your money. For $1 you
Okay.
put in, 4 comes back. So now that we know, let's go 120, let's say is the max that we want to spend on customer acquisition cost. Now
Yeah.
let's dive into your metrics for Facebook and Google, because the main thing you want to figure out, Caleb, is it worth it? Is it being effective enough, or should I just stick with my door hangers?
I'm just trying to figure out, yes, like, hey, is it worth doing this? Like the amount of money that we're spending, should I be going all in like I have been with some of our marketing spend on these different avenues? But yes, yeah, you're correct.
Would you happen to have the metrics and data points in front of you right now for Facebook? $40 cost per lead. And then what is your close rate?
30%.
And is that your blended average, or is that your close rate on those leads?
So close rate on these leads last time we talked was 36%.
And how are you specifically tracking close rate for those leads specifically?
Yeah, so I just go through a report. I file through all those customers, see which ones are customers, which ones are not, and that's how I figured out that number when we last spoke.
And so the 30% is the close rate for those leads specifically?
No, no, no. It's 38% is the close ratio for Facebook leads.
Okay.
30% is our blended average of everything.
So then on Facebook, you're getting a customer acquisition cost of $105. And how many leads did you get from Google Local Services?
11.
And so it would be easy enough to go and search up their name in Copilot and just add a tag or add a referral source.
Yeah. If I could get their name, the thing is, I have to go through Slack, look up each phone number, and try to find that. I haven't done that yet, but I probably should.
For the, I mean, if it's just 11 for the sake of trying to get your close rate, because then on Copilot you can go to finances estimates, search the estimates accepted / total if a customer has a tag of Google local services.
Yeah.
And then that will be able to tell you how many sent, how many were accepted. You get your close rate on that lead specifically. And you just need a sample size for the sake of this exercise, because we would want to know close rate we got close rate for Facebook. We need to know close rate for Google local services, because even though you have a higher cost per lead, if you had an 80% close rate on Google local services, your customer acquisition cost would be much lower, even though your cost per lead is higher. We just don't know that data yet. But from just a cost per lead standpoint, Facebook is outperforming Google. We would just need to know our close rate. And then do you happen to know your metrics on door hangers?
I know we've gotten 5 customers from it, and we've put out about 7,000 flyers.
Starting next week, I'd be figuring out a way to track the cost per lead for both door hangers, Google and Facebook. You also need to figure out a way to track close rate specifically for Facebook, Google, and those door hangers. Probably going to be as simple as, instead of adding a referral source, because you can't filter by referral source in the estimates page, you're going to have to add a tag. So the tag is going to be Facebook ad, Google ad, or door hanger. And then you can go and then find out your specific close rate based on the channel. We're looking at 2 things. We're looking at cost per lead and then close rate. So I'm trying to teach you how my brain is working on this process, because we have to track the cost per lead and in relation to our close rate on that specific channel that tells us our customer acquisition cost, because not all channels are created equal. Your Facebook customers might have a low close rate because there wasn't true intent to buy when they went to Facebook that day. Google might have a high close rate because they searched lawn care near me when they were looking for it. Door hangers might have high or low close rate. Who knows? But not all channels are created equal. Finding your cost per lead and knowing your close rate on that channel is going to tell you your best marketing route. It's also worth testing. You want to go pre-spring rush, which you're doing right now. You want to go peak demand. You want to go post-spring rush, and then you want to go pick a random month as well in the not the off season, but like September, October. And then you can say, hey, Facebook is the best performer pre-spring rush. Facebook is also, for whatever reason, the best performer in September. Door hangers are peak demand, and Google is post-spring rush. That way next year, hey, we're not doing door hangers pre or in September. We're only doing Facebook because that's the best performing channel this time of year. What you're doing is you're tracking data. So I call it playing house. If you're going to go do door hangers, if you're going to do Facebook ads, Google ads, if you're just dumping money, you're just playing house. You're putting on a business owner costume because that's what a business owner is supposed to do. But what you're actually doing is you're being intentional and you're tracking the data. It's a failed effort if you throw $10,000 marketing at a few different channels and never track data, because now you don't know what to do the next year. Well, let's talk about the close rate. So how to increase close rate. Close rate simply is estimates accepted divided by total estimates sent. If you get a declined estimate, do you think that hurts or helps or neutralizes your close rate?
Doesn't change anything.
Doesn't change anything. That's what people get messed up with close rate. They get scared to do follow-up sales calls because if they get a decline, it's going to crush their close rate. The only reason why it would negatively impact your close rate is because now that's just one more estimate that you can't close. So to increase close rate, hammer follow-up sales calls. Follow-up sales calls cannot negatively impact your close rate. It can only help it. One thing I want you to feel freedom on is you don't have to feel like you're a sales rep. I would recommend you try to stay away from pushy sales tactics. Everybody wants to buy, nobody likes to be sold. So if you can just call and say, hey, you asked me to give you pricing. Here is the price. Here's the 2 days I have available. Which works best for you? You're not selling them anything. You're actually doing them a service by giving them exactly what they asked for. Present it, and don't give them a yes or no. Just say this day or this day. Make them go out of their way to give you an objection. Now, if they give you an objection, now it starts to get into a little bit of sales, but it's not like today and today only, we're doing, it's not like a mattress
Yeah.
store commercial. You know what I mean? Like, just be friendly. The way I talk to our guys about it is, imagine your mom or your dad ask you to give them a lawn mowing price. Your mom or your dad gets sent the estimate and they don't respond. Now you have to call your mom or your dad and see if they want it or not. That's the tone in which you're talking to these customers. Hey mom, this is the price. I can get there Tuesday or Thursday to help you out best. I want to make sure you're taken care of. Like, what can I do for you to make this super easy for you? And they're like, well, Tuesday kind of works, but I'll have to talk with dad. Well, what do you think dad's gonna say about the price? I'm just have a normal conversation. And it's like, have fun with it, dude. Too many people are like, one of our GMs gets shaky and talks really fast and it's like freaking out. And I'm just like, dude, just have fun with it. My biggest thing is, don't be salesy. Always have a reason for the call. And if you're a goofy person like me, try to make them laugh. If you're not a goofy person, don't try to make them laugh, because it's just going to be awkward. Never give them a yes or no ultimatum. It's always a this or that. You follow those 3 things, man, you're good to go.
What are some other ways I can increase this close ratio? I've tried to make my estimates as clear as possible, as easy to read, kind of following what your advice was a while ago. Um, you know, do you have any other kind of tips you could share, increase that
Yep.
besides follow-up calls?
Close over the phone as frequently as possible. So if somebody calls in asking for a mowing, don't direct them to your instant pricing form. Say, yes, Mrs. Jones, give me 1 second. I'm going to measure your property. Here's your pricing. We take debit or credit, or Tuesday or Thursday. Close over the phone. If you can do it over the phone versus leveraging your automations, that's going to help increase your close rate. Your instant pricing, you're going to have a weird close rate now that we're using instant pricing, because it's kind of just a weird thing now. But that inherently is going to help your close rate, because the inverse of that is having to send a bunch of estimates that not a lot of people are going to accept anyways. Since you're going speed to lead, inherently, if there was a way to track close rate on that, it would have improved your close rate, because speed. So that, even though it's not going to reflect on your close rate in your KPI cockpit, be rest assured your close rate effectively from last year has increased. The way to track that, from what Mike told me, is just look at total estimates accepted last year versus total instant prices accepted this year. So this is kind of counterintuitive, but technically less upsells would help your close rate, because you're sending out estimates that nobody asked for. And a way that you could track upsells is, when you're doing upsells, instead of, let's say for example, you want to do a flower bed cleanup upsell, instead of having the line item of flower bed cleanup, have the line item of suggested service. And then the line item description would be that of a flower bed cleanup. That way you can now start to filter based on line items, what is an upsell, what is not. And you could use that line item to trigger different automations. So that way your upsell estimates aren't going into your 20 days to close automation. They could instead go into just 2 or 3 quick follow-ups. Here's how I would handle upsells going forward. This is probably what we're going to start implementing. We're going to let the crew leaders initiate an upsell, but we're going to require them to be reviewed. And then it's going to be up to the GM to review that upsell, go to the We're never going to ask a customer if they want an upsell or if they want the service. We're just going to have the GM go to the property, create a quick pricing while they're there, film themselves. Hey, Mrs. Jones, when we were here at your property, we noticed this needed to be done. I'm going to send you in the next few moments a link to this estimate. We would love to get this taken off of your plate. See how bad those weeds are. Hey, we love you too much to have you out here in the heat pulling weeds. Let me get this taken care of for you. Talk to you soon. Send the video, and then create that estimate, send the link. Go back into Copilot, decline the upsell review so that it never goes to the customer. And that's going to help increase your close rate versus a bunch of upsells getting sent out and going through a 20 days to close automation. Anything you want to talk about for productive / more efficient and KPIs and numbers to see how we're doing? What in your day do you think is waste?
I just feel like Copilot's like slow to use for me for some reason. Even with my new computer setup, it takes me so long. And I think the problem is my process is I'll go through email and I'll just go from bottom up. like the oldest email up. But then the problem is you're switching different tasks constantly. Okay, I gotta send an instant price quote. Okay, I gotta set up this meeting for this applicant. Okay, I have to respond to this complaint. Okay, I gotta set up the service. So I'm flipping so many times, and I'm not just doing instant price quotes all day. You know, I think this might be just like a label thing. I should just pop these into labels and then just do them one at a time.
It also could be leveraging automations. Like if I was your size of business, especially if you're using instant price, the only thing that you would need to worry about would be customer de-escalation or just customer inquiries.
What I'm talking about is like responding to all these emails. Like, okay, I gotta set this customer up on the schedule, right? I have to. Then I gotta jump over here and respond to this email. Then I gotta jump over to setting a price after they didn't click accept or deny instant pricing. You know.
So you could time block your day. You could say, hey, like I basically copied, you know, the Mike Andy's calendar.
Yeah.
Right. So I basically copied that and just put it into my own thing. So you could say from 5:30 to 6:30 gym and hygiene. Okay. So from 6:30 to 7:30 emails. From 7:30 to 8 prep for the day for the guys. Get everything ready. So 8 o'clock, wheels up. Everybody's up. From 8 to 12 in the field producing revenue. From 12 to 1, emails and text messages. From 1 to 3 in the field producing revenue. At 3 o'clock, I'm officially done producing revenue for the day. From 3 to 5, emails, text messages. From 5 to 7, working on the business. From 7 to 10, personal time and recovery. Because then that gives you freedom to like be where your feet are. So if you are producing revenue, you don't have to be like, oh gosh, I got to get to that email. It's like, no, I know I have an hour block coming up at 12. And I'm just going to focus on producing revenue and being the most efficient revenue producing employee we have, because that's going to move the needle. And then from 1 to 2, whatever, I'm going to do emails and texts, and I'm not even going to touch a mower unless I have nothing to respond to. And so now you can say your goal could be, let's say 20 budgeted hours or 15 budgeted hours of revenue producing tasks per week. If you're working 5 days a week, that's only 3 hours of revenue producing tasks. And so if you're 75% efficient, you only have to be in the field producing revenue 4 hours a day. So I think if you want to be more productive, just time block and allow yourself to turn your brain off and just listen to podcasts, music, etc. while you're on a mower. And obviously you're gonna have to take phone calls from your employees because you owe that to them. So that's gonna be the only variable. But outside of that, give yourself some freedom to work on what needs to be worked on in certain time frames.
Now the thing is, it's like you get texts and urgent emails and things through Slack as well that are urgent, you know, so I want to be able to get back to those people as quickly as possible, but you're saying block off times in the day to do that.
What I've recently learned from last week, we had an event happen. And what I've learned is things are never as urgent as you think they are, because I would have things in the past that have happened that I was like, I need to get to this now. And then we had something happen last week where I was like, oh, so that's what urgent really is. So we had a guy hit the main gas line to a house. Natural gas is just spewing into the air. Literally had to call the cops and get the fire department over there and everything. I was like, that is the definition of urgent. A customer that's pissed off because of X, Y, and Z, that can wait. So for the KPIs and everything, I'm just looking at our big three. We have a monthly revenue target of 150,000 for March. We're not going to hit that. We'll probably be around 115. So like, I already know there. Are we lacking on sales? Do we need to send out more upsells, etc.? But you can go and view all the metrics, so I don't take much of your time. You can go and view all the metrics in that big three form.
Yeah, I just flipped through it. So that's all you use for your company to track your KPIs metrics.
And we're looking at our GM weekly scorecard. I sent you a screenshot in Connect Team.
Right. Yeah.
And so a mixture of those, I can make educated decisions off of all that information.